Jacob is on his deathbed and calls his 12 sons to bless them. We know he gave the leadership role to Judah. But if you had to choose who to give the leadership role to, based on your misconceptions and the books you have read and the sermons you have heard on the topic, you would have given the job to Joseph and not Judah. I will prove it to you. Let's compare Joseph and Judah's resume. Let's take Joseph first. At age 17, he is sold out by 9 of his brothers to a caravan of Arabs. He becomes a slave in Egypt. From a slave, he becomes second in command in Egypt. That is ambition. He does not hold a grudge against his brothers. That is character. He resisted the temptation of Potiphar's wife. That is self-control. He saved the entire known world from a famine. He's smart. He's a problem solver. Joseph is actually called Joseph the Sadiq, Joseph the Righteous. This is what we look for in a leader. Self-control, self-discipline, character. Doesn't bear any grudges. He's smart, visionary to save Egypt. All the trappings of being a leader, and he's actually second in command in Egypt. Extensive experience. Yet on his deathbed, Jacob gives the leadership role to Judah. Joseph doesn't get the job. Let's look at Judah's resume. It was Judah's idea to sell Joseph. He marries a Canaanite woman. This goes against God's commandment not to marry the locals. He had relations with his daughter-in-law unknowingly, who was posing as a harlot, and she gets pregnant. What is there to write home about Judah? Nothing really on the surface, and yet he gets the leadership role. Think about that. Many companies, non-profit organizations, institutions, and churches spend lots of money training thousands of would-be leaders in hopes of producing potential and better leaders. Universities and colleges, tertiary institutions have added courses designed to produce and improve the cadre of leaders, yet these trainings and special courses has not produced the kind of leaders we desire to see. Why is that? Because most of these are based on management techniques, manipulation skills, method of control, and persuasion. You see, you cannot learn to become a leader. Either you have it or you don't. If you have it, then it needs to be developed. That is why leadership centers, the authentic ones, are usually called Center for Leadership Development. The reason is because it's difficult to teach leadership. Leadership is developed. If you have it, it can be developed. When Moses did not want the role of leading the children of Israel from Egypt, he tells God, Loish Davarim Anochi, I am not a man of words. I am a bad speaker. That is how he starts, Loish Davarim Anochi. And he finishes his role by these words, Ele Hadavarim Aseh Deba Moshe. These are the words which Moses spoke to all of Israel. He finishes so strong, but he started not being able to speak. He had to develop it. When you see a leader, you know automatically the person is a leader. It's easy to identify, but explaining the phenomenon is the difficult part. That is why research on leadership has been done for hundreds of years to find out what is it that makes one a leader. They started with qualities to look for, characteristics, and they failed. Because some leaders are tall, others short. Some handsome, others not too handsome. Some are great speakers. Some cannot even construct their sentences fully. Some are very intelligent and smart, and some are not. Hitler, for example, had very shallow intelligence, but he drove crazy the entire world. People walked after him like crazy. How come? So the Greeks, who were thinkers, philosophers, came up with the word charisma to define leadership. Charisma is actually two Greek words, charis, which means gift, ma, which means gods. So the Greeks concluded leadership is a gift from the gods, charisma. Even the Greeks could not figure it out. They did not know how to explain it. Yet hundreds of years before the Greeks came on the scene to start systematic study, research on humans and leadership theories, Jacob gives us an insight on leadership by choosing Judah over the impressive resume of Joseph. Again, I ask why. What did Jacob know about authentic leadership that we are yet to discover? Stay tuned for some answers.